That was a fun challenge, wasn't it? And it did help us to revise our concepts of conditional statements. But what if I tell you to print all the leap years from year 1100 to year 2000? Yeah, for 900 years, you need to print each year, which is a leap year. So what you will be doing then? Will you be copy pasting this leap year code 900 times or until you either break your fingers or your keyboard? Oh, no, 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 no. Hell no. We are in this course to learn programming, and a good programmer always writes less and does more. And for this use case, we have a perfect tool in Apex, and it's called loops. Let's understand loops with the help of an example. So let's say we have a variable called year and its value is 1100. So we have a condition that is till the time our year value becomes 2000, we'll be having a code block that will be executing each time. And in this code block, we'll be first checking if this year is a leap year and then we'll increment the year value by 1. So this particular code block will run 900 times. And let's try to understand how a computer will execute this code. So first your year value is 1100, then you come into this loop and you check if the year's value is less than 2000 or not. It is. So what you will do, you will first check if this year is a leap year or not. And based on that, you either print it in your debug statement or you don't. Then you increment this year's value by 1. So now the year has become 1101. And then this loop execute once again. You will again check if this year is a leap year or not. And then you again increment the value by 1. So this will keep on going until your year value becomes 2000. So this way you will execute the same piece of code 900 times with the help of loops. Apex supports different type of loops. The first one is a do-while loop. A do-while loop has a condition which you specify after the while keyword, and here our condition is if year is less than or equals to 2000. So till the time your code meet this condition, your code block will keep on executing. So whatever you are going to write in your loop code block, that will keep on executing till the time your year is less than or equals to 2000. The one key thing that we need to notice in a do while loop is it checks for the condition after the loop code block. So this means your do while loop will execute at least once. So even if your year's value is, let's say, 2001 in the beginning itself, still your loop code block will execute at least once, and then for the next time the condition will fail and it won't execute. So a do while loop always execute at least once. And now let's go back to our developer console and implement a do while loop. We'll be modifying our leap year challenge code, and this time we'll be printing all the leap years between the year 1100 and 2000. So we'll be looping over all the years and we'll be checking if a year is a leap year or not with the help of the same logic that we already have in place. And if it is a year, then we'll be printing it out in our debug statement, else we will not put any debug statement. So first let me make some space here and let's set our year variable to 1100. Now we need to use our do while loop here. And if you remember the syntax from what I've shown you before, this is how a do while loop looks like, where you write a loop code block and then here you write a condition. Jesus, this and key is never working. Yeah, so here you have your loop code block and then you have your condition. So what do you think? Where should we put our leap year checking code? obviously it must go here in our loop code block, right? And here we need to give our condition. And our condition is the value of the year variable should be less than or equals to 2000. So let's write it down here. And we are going to use our less than and equals to operator. Let's comment here year value must be less than or equal to 2000. Awesome. Let's not forget putting a semicolon here. Now in this loop code block, we need to check if the year is leap year or not. So what we can do, we can directly copy our existing logic and then we'll paste it here. And let's check out, do we need to make some changes in this code or not? So we operate over this year variable, which is fine. And if the year is not a leap year, then I do not want to print any debug statement. So let's remove this else and this else. But if the year is a leap year, then you want to print out the year value and then it's a leap year. So instead of its, let's put our year value here, which is this one. So this year variable will always hold the current year value on which the loop is processing. So you can directly paste it in your debug statement like this. And then it will be like, let's say if it is processing on the year 1100, then it will say 1100 is a leap year. Perfect. Let's copy the same statement here as well. And then we will leave the rest of code as is. One more thing that I want to show you guys here, like the current value that we are processing. So what we can do, we can put a debug statement in here, like which will be the first statement of our loop code block, and it will simply say processing year and then the year value. So even if the year is not a leap year, we at least see a debug statement that we are processing on this particular year now. So I guess we are good here, and let's execute this code. Oops, we have got an exception and it says CPU time limit exceeded. That means our code is keep on executing without any halt. So maybe we have done something wrong somewhere. So let's check our code once again. So we have our year variable which starts from 1100, and then we are processing over this year variable inside a do while loop, and this is our existing code, so it should work fine. And there's no problem with our condition as well. But yes, are we incrementing our year value anywhere? No, we are not. And that's the reason our code keep on executing without any halt, because this year value is never increasing. It's always 1100. So that means this year value will never go beyond 2000. It will always stay 1100, and this loop will keep on executing forever. So always keep in mind about the increment statement in your loop and the condition. Always check these two statements and then only put your code in production. Don't do the same mistake that I have done here. So let's copy our year variable, and just before our while statement here, I'm going to do year plus plus. So this will increment the year value. Perfect. Now this should work, and first it's going to check on year 1100, then it will increment the year. So this means after this statement or line number 26, the year value will become 1101, and since we are still meeting the criteria, this will again go in this do while loop, and then the same cycle repeats until we reach the year 2000. So let's execute once again, and this time looks like our code executed well. And let's click on debug only here. And you see our loop started with year 1100, then the value incremented. We moved to 1101, then 1102, then 1103, then 1104. And since 1104 is a leap year, we have got this statement here that 1104 is a leap year. After that, 1108 is a leap year, and so on. And our loop should be terminated after the year value 2000. So the last statement is 2000 is a leap year, and after that our loop terminated. You can also print this in a debug statement. So this time I'm going to comment this line because it's increasing our log size. And after our do while loop, I'll simply print the year value after loop. And this should be 2001. Let's execute it once again and check the logs. This time we are only getting the leap year statement, and let's move to the last debug log. So from our log, we can clearly see that our loop stopped executing after the year value crossed 2000 mark. And that's why we see our last statement after the loop. So one more thing that I want to show you guys here. What if this year value is already greater than 2000? Maybe let's say 2200. So this is already greater than 2000, right? So in this case, our logic should not execute, right? But it will, because the do while loop checks for the condition only after the first execution. So it executes the code first and then it checks for the condition. So even if the year value is already greater than 2000, this loop will execute at least once. So let's execute this code. And we see our last statement only, that year value after loop is 2201, because 2200 is not a leap year and this statement got executed, so the year value became 2201. And since we did not meet the criteria here, it did not go to the loop again and directly printed the last statement. So that's all in this video. In the next video we'll be doing a do while loop challenge.